this imagery of God riding on clouds is also transferred into the New Testament. We see that for Jesus. I had to read for my Trinitarian class a book called Putting Jesus in His Place, The Case for the Deity of Christ by Bowman and Komosevsky. It's an amazing book. You can read it fast, even though it's a theological book. It's written for laymen. You can see in every chapter how the Old Testament verses which describe God's supremacy, God's attributes, God's characteristics, how they transfer to Jesus, and it makes case that Jesus is Yahweh, right? And one of the passages that are very powerful are from Mark 14 and Revelation 1:7, and I'll also say why. In Mark 14, by the end of Mark 14, it says, "But he remained silent and made no answer," Jesus, when he was arrested. Again, the high priest asked him, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" And Jesus said, "I am. And you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming with the clouds of heaven." And the high priest tore his garments and said, "What further witness do we need? You have heard his blasphemy. What is your decision?" And they have all condemned him as deserving death. They knew better theology than we know nowadays, because they knew that if you're riding on a cloud, you're the most high God, El Shaddai, right? So Jesus said, "You will see me in my glory, coming back on clouds." So that imagery of Yahweh riding on clouds also belongs to Jesus, because again, Jesus is Yahweh. And the second passage is Revelation 1, verses 7 and 8. "Behold, he's coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierce him, and all the tribes of the earth will wail on account of him. Even so, amen." And then Jesus says, "I am Alpha and Omega." Again, he is the same God of the Old Testament. So again, this is the book called Putting Jesus in His Place by Bowman and Komosevsky. And it's an amazing little book. I would call it little because every book that is like up to 200 pages, it's a little when you have to read 600-700 pages book and write papers, right, and pass all these exams. Yeah, so I just want to make that connection. We're not just talking about some isolated, cold, distant, judgmental, hateful God of the Old Testament. We're talking about the Father of Jesus Christ, and the same way the Father is called Yahweh, Jesus is also